This area here is the very centre of Rome. The area that is between the great palaces of the emperors on the hill and the Senate house over there. Roman Senate that controlled the actual empire. This little area in the middle was packed with monuments. Monuments that went back hundreds and hundreds of years. Next to the Senate house was a little round hole. That was called the navel of the universe. Next to that was a golden milestone, and all the Roman roads, the roads that went to the edges of Persia, to Scotland, they were all measured from that particular little golden spot. And the touching thing about the middle of this empire, and the thing that's really quite moving when you come here, is actually how small it is. Actually, after all, it started as a marketplace hundreds of years ago. It's a little place where the people of Rome, the little villagers of Rome, could come and flog their cheeses. This was the place, even at the height of empire, where Julius Caesar actually was cremated in that area there. You know, the great speech of Mark Antony, where he roused the Roman populace, that took place here. That was a very little local event between Roman people. So if you were a foreigner then, had something to sell, or religion to offer the world, you would have come here. That's why Peter and Paul came here. They came here to sell the Romans Christianity. It would have been a very difficult job. These Romans were clever people. They inherited all the Greek philosophers. There were Stoics here. There were followers of Aristotle, Plato, people like that. These Middle Eastern guys turning up, talking about salvation, about the end of the world, about a God full of love, would have passed them by completely. And in fact, it took Christianity hundreds of years to conquer the minds of those sort of people. I must tell you, my friends, that the good news that you have heard me preach was no human invention. I didn't take it over from any man, but I heard it directly as a revelation from Jesus Christ. It's a typical blast from one of Paul's missionary letters, the oldest Christian documents in the world. And the letters seem authentic enough, too. In the last 100 years, archaeologists have dug up all sorts of circumstantial detail that Paul mentions in his letters. And the style, too, is exactly right for a Roman letter of that period, with one essential difference. Paul's vigorousness has actually twisted the rather elegant classical form into a sort of unique tirade, because the man's got a message. He's in fact got the first Christian message to the West.
Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword? For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, shall be able to separate us from the love of Christ.
Paul and the apostles took their message to almost every town of the Roman Empire, and certainly to here, the suburb of Herculaneum in the shadow of Vesuvius.
Tongues of men and of angels, and have not love, I am become as a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. I may have faith strong enough to move mountains, but if I have no love, I am nothing. There is nothing love cannot face, no limit to its faith, its hope, its endurance.
Wow. This hardly looks like a tired and hungry world searching for a new faith, as the Christian explanation of how their religion managed to conquer the Roman Empire so often goes. And this is a house from St. Paul's time, urban Italy, house of a small merchant. It's got enough money to get in Greek mosaic artists, nice fresco painters. This is a little courtyard. You couldn't afford much room in a town, but you could fill it full of goodies, and that's what the guy has done. Now, his society, and that's the society really of all the Roman Empire, is of small people, small groups of people, each with their own gods and each with their own interests. A very, very busy place. Everybody's working very hard. It's a sort of society, in fact, that inevitably you're going to get people who are discontented in it. People who are running along and saying, why am I having to run so hard? Where am I going? There's a vacuum there. And in a sense, it's that vacuum which Paul is going to fill. He preached Christian love from the rooftops, and he got a big following. Not a majority, but enough in a couple of centuries so that the emperors themselves, realizing the strange power of a religion that seemed to cement people into new alliance, would use it for the empire. It became the imperial religion, the Bible, the imperial book. So the story is then how this arch, this great shrine, which for so many centuries had housed the gods like this, and the pagan emperors themselves, ended up housing the Bible and the cross. Sunday morning, in one of the oldest churches in Rome, the Bible is carried to the high altar. This beautiful ritual is much older than the Christian church. Almost everything here, the great arch above the altar, the incense, the chanting, all have their origins in the court of the pagan Roman emperors. In those days, though, it was the emperors, the great persecutors of the Christians, and not the Bible that sat at the building's centre.
Dicit ergo eis Iesus, amen, amen, dico vobis.
These same pagan emperors put the Bible to work, part of their remedy for a failing government. They came down from the throne, joined the congregation, and worshipped Jesus Christ. And they took the Bible and set it at the heart of their empire. And this was the beginning of the Bible's most extraordinary journey, from ancient East to modern West.